The helicopter blew up and fell and crashed in that barge, and it's exploding right now.
When it hit, it was a split second. It didn't wrap up. It didn't do anything. As soon as it touched it, it was just explosion.
Developing now at 6, eyewitnesses telling us about the moments they watched a helicopter fall out of the sky and crash onto a barge in Alton. Good evening to you. Thanks for being here at 6 o'clock. I'm Corey Stark, live in Alton and directly across the Mississippi River from where that helicopter went down earlier today, tragically killing the 2 people on board. Now, this story all begins just around 11 o'clock this morning. Authorities were called about a helicopter crashed on the Mississippi River near the Locken Dam. And you can see this is not far from the Clark Bridge, which was completely shut down to traffic for a while today. Both the FAA and NTSB are working to find out exactly what happened. FAA investigators are on scene right now. The NTSB will be on the ground tomorrow, we're told. And we know Ameren contractors were repairing and replacing tower lighting and marker balls at the time of the crash, and the 2 people killed in the helicopter have not yet been identified. Authorities don't believe there was anyone on the barge at the time the helicopter crashed on it. One thing I want to bring as we go back out live is a look at what you're seeing is a look at the power line, and one of them that was clipped that is still down right in the middle of the Mississippi River. I can tell you our newsroom is making calls right now to figure out when exactly that will be cleaned up. Right now, as we stand here on the shoreline on the Illinois side, not a lot of activity, just news media here telling this story. But earlier today when this happened, there were people milling about and witnessed what happened. I want to bring in our Russell Kinsaw because you've been talking to the people who witnessed this horrific scene.
Yeah, witnesses tell me they saw that helicopter make several trips going from this side of the river to that side of the river, shuttling equipment, shuttling crew over to that high tension tower right over there. The trouble came whenever that helicopter hit one of those high voltage lines. One witness said it was a difficult thing to watch.
I don't know, man. A helicopter falling out of the sky hitting a boat like this. It was a white flash and then orange flames, like a red or orange-red ball. Then it was black smoke, and you could hear the pop.
So take a look at this photo. This is the helicopter just a short time before the crash. At one point, it flew 2 workers who were hanging from a sling beneath it and deposited them on top of that tall transmission tower. After that, the helicopter took one of those high visibility balls that were sitting on the grass and flew over to attach it to one of those electric transmission lines. The helicopter hit one of those wires, and witnesses say there was an explosion. And then the helicopter just fell onto a barge, setting off more explosions. A plume of black smoke could be seen rising above the crash. But first responders had a difficult time reaching the scene because there was no access by land.
So the first people to respond were the tugboat captains. The bigger tugboat that was attached to the barge that fell on had a water tour going. It was quite a while before anybody else could get there. Just the proximity, there's no easy access for that side.
John Kemper's also been working on this story. He's on the other side of the river with more of our continuing team coverage.
Yeah, Russell, we are here in West Alton, Missouri, as authorities continue to investigate what happened here. Just over the last few hours, we've seen a variety of law enforcement boats cruising the river. We're also told the FAA is here on the ground after what witnesses called just a horrifying crash.
All you seen was a fiery ball.
Authorities say just after 11 a.m., a helicopter working on the power lines hit the wires and landed on a barge. Police say 2 people died. The barge caught fire and it was quickly extinguished, partially thanks to another barge coming over and spraying it with water.
They pulled off that barge and went over there and put that fire out within minutes. That could have been a way bigger disaster than what it already is.
Now, Ameren has responded, saying that they actually had a contractor and a subcontractor out working on the power lines earlier today, specifically replacing the tower lighting and the marker balls on the lines. We're still trying to figure out specifically which companies were working today. Now, let's send it back over to Corey and Russell.
All right, John, appreciate that update from the Missouri side of the river. Thank you. Russell, one thing else I want to ask you. The witnesses you talked to, did they notice anything unusual before the helicopter crashed?
There was a moment when one of the witnesses said he was watching as that helicopter took one of those high visibility balls and was hovering over the wire, preparing to attach it to one of those top high voltage lines. He said the worker was strapped in, but he was on one side, kind of hanging out the open door, and he had that ball, and it seemed like maybe because of the weight all being on one side of the helicopter, he said the helicopter looked like it was off kilter. His words, off kilter. And it could be maybe the weight all on one side reduced its stability within the air. And he said he looked away, was doing something else, and moments later, that's when he heard the explosion from it hitting the wire and then saw it fall out of the sky.
Obviously, that will all be part of this investigation. As we mentioned, the NTSB and FAA are going to be conducting investigations. FAA, in fact, already on the ground doing that investigation. That's the latest that we have here in Alton. Lauren, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Yeah, and just a little bit more on that too. When you think of work on power lines, you probably picture like the big bucket trucks you see a lot of after a storm, say, for example. But utility companies all around the country do utilize helicopters for some of their work, particularly on hard to reach areas. And over the years, First Alert 4 has shown you video of that kind of work being done in our area. So take a look at this. This was in 2017. Ameren said they were using choppers and dangling linemen to upgrade 26 miles of transmission lines in the region, saying the helicopters help cut the time it takes to get that work done from months to weeks. But they stressed back then that the workers are certified and specially trained. Now take a look at this video. This was a giant saw hanging from a helicopter. It was used to trim trees around power lines. We captured this video back in 2019. And then also in 2019, neighbors in Afton told us that they had their eyes on the sky as Ameren workers there were working on the power lines. Ameren at the time said it minimized impact to traffic in the area using those helicopters instead of, say, shutting down the roads or bringing in big equipment. But neighbors said it was a sight they had never seen before.
So low, we're not used to that over the neighborhood. Like it literally, like he could just jump down and say hi to me in the yard. I'm glad he didn't.
And of course, we are still looking to learn more about what caused that crash exactly with those workers doing that type of work. We were the first to alert you both on air and online right after we first learned of today's helicopter crash. To stay up to date with the latest breaking news, you got to make sure you have that First Alert 4 News app downloaded.